All right, back at it with Hold My Banner. As teased before the break, it's time for some viewer questions, and Ante and I will answer, more Ante than me, because, well, it's your insight and analytics that we really need. But let's jump into it, because Giannis has been a name kicked around quite a bit, as if like the realistic approach to this is right within reach. I don't think so, y'all, but some fans still do. At Huckleberry12 on the Celtics offseason said, just tank unless you can get Giannis. Make it make sense.
I think we're past this Huckleberry 12. I thought we were. Giannis says that he doesn't want to go anywhere. At least it sounds like he's going to stay in Milwaukee. Brad has told us many and many a times that the Celtics plan on keeping their winning tradition and winning. Look, I'm with you, though. I'm with you. I'm selfish, though. Friend of the program, AJ DeBanza. I would love to see him in a Boston Celtics jersey. We're talking about hometowns and people from Lawrence and whatever. Get the kid from Brockton in a Celtics jersey. We wanted to do Cooper Flag, and we dreamt about Cooper Flag, and we keep talking about how he wants to be a Celtic. We have an opportunity to go get a Celtic. It's AJ DeBanza. But you know what? We're not going to get him. So Huckleberry,
we're not going to get him.
I hear you, but it's just not going to happen, all right?
Wow. I was hoping that you were going to sell that differently, because didn't DeBanza just throw out the Red Sox?
Yeah, the first pitch.
A week ago or so. And I was like, wow, Brockton, I can pronounce the name of the town that he's from here. Everyone seems so high on this kid. Make him a Boston Celtic. So. Who knows? My manifestation doesn't work all that well. All right, back to the Ben Simmons conversation. The only reason I don't want Simmons here is because I'm not doing the Simmons-Simons thing. I'm not doing it. I refuse. At Lancey, on the possibility of Ben Simmons joining the Celtics, honestly thought Simmons looked okay when coming on for the Clippers last season. If you're talking about value for something close to a vet minimum, I just don't know if he actually wants to play hard anymore. Still a very switchable defender who can rebound and distribute the ball well. Would he hinder the development of other players, though? That's my main issue. I like how well this was just laid out.
Yeah, I did too. Lancey, that was a very well thought out message that you sent us, and I appreciate it. That's the big thing that Casey and I talked about. What would he do with the development with the other guys around him? And, I could see minutes being an issue, where you got a lot of these young front court guys like a Shireman, like a Hugo González, like a Jordan Walsh, and they need some minutes in the NBA in order to figure out. But the thing about the NBA that we all know is true, and especially with a guy like Ben Simmons, like we talked about, is injuries.
Right.
They happen. It's an 82-game season. It's grueling. It's long. You got the NBA Cup in the middle of it that could add an extra game for certain teams.
Or an extra injury for certain players.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm in the camp of yes. It could be an issue with this logjam that they're having of guys, even Minot. I always forget to mention him. But, they might sit there and say, hey, why do we want to play a Ben Simmons if we know we're not going to be good? Let's develop these guys if we know we're not going to be a chip. 100%. But the thing about Ben Simmons is he comes in humble now.
Right.
He comes in as a guy who's shown the ability to teach young guys, to let young guys understand how he thinks the game and what he's looking for. And defensively, yes, offensively, the shot, shooting, all this other stuff, stay away from my rookies. Don't teach them how to shoot a basketball. Don't teach them about which shots to look at or which shots to not look at, because I don't want that in there. But playmaking and defense, which are two things that the Boston Celtics really harp on. Everyone talks about the shooting, but it's really having guys who can put the ball on the floor and who can play defense and rebound. That's what the Celtics really harp themselves on. The shooting is going to be the shooting, but they want to play defense and they want to be able to get the ball to shooters when they have the opportunity to do so. He can teach young guys how to do that at a high level.
Okay, so you went with a bit of a teaching angle on some of the things that he can teach him, not everything. But another angle that I want to explore here is he just doesn't seem like he wants to play hard anymore. And I separate that into two things because, one, if you're an injury-prone player, I know we talk a lot about, being a professional athlete, it's just mentally getting over these hurdles and putting it all on the line every single night. But sometimes there's some hesitancy there depending on the injury, depending on if you're actually ever working through 100% of a body again. Because certain points of your career, and you guys have made Ben Simmons sound as ancient as I am, he might, never go into a season at 80, 90%. He might be coming in at 75 all the time. So could that be a hindrance to seeing him play hard? Or my angle on it is, guys, when you're at a certain point of your career, that locker morale, that coaching, that guidance, it becomes more important, especially if you are an injury-ridden athlete. You're always trying to make sure that you're coming out and putting your best foot forward. He has had his mental health approaches and struggles. You need a proper atmosphere to revitalize, rejuvenate, and take your career to the next level. So those are the two devil advocates I'm going to throw on the table there. Is it maybe just a hesitation thing, or could this be a morale thing, and Boston Celtics could be a good answer?
Yeah, to answer that, and I don't have the answers, we would have to see how it would play out if this were to even happen.
True.
He played for Ty Lue last year, and like Lockie is saying right now, he played well. And I think that's a testament to the coach that Tyronn Lue is. And I think, we don't know if Joe Mazzulla is as good of a coach as Tyronn Lue, or if Tyronn Lue, I don't care where you think of how great of coaches those two guys are compared to each other. But I do know they share a lot of traits where they protect their players, one, which is a huge part of what they do. They always looking out for their players. They're not in the business of slandering guys, when media tries to slander them or whatever. They always look out for their best interests. And two, I just think Joe's a psycho. Like, he's just the kind of guy to get Ben Simmons to be like,
get him
play hard,
head.
do this, do that, you know what I mean? And figure out the way to push Ben's buttons to get him to do the things that he needs to do. So I'm not really worried about that because I trust Joe with that kind of development with a player.
Perfect. And I feel like you basically answered the last part of it. Would he hinder the development of the other players? That's the main issue. No, I think we know, your strengths as somebody who has been in leadership roles and captaincy roles, and both of us had playing, to the college level of our sports. It's like, I'm not going to teach you how to do rainbows and bicycle kicks if it's not my strong suit. I'm going to teach you what is my strong suit. I'm going to teach you how to approach the things that are not your strong suit. 100%. Because that's what I always went psycho about. If I can't do something, everybody get away from me. I'm going to figure it out. I might not be great at it, but I'm going to figure it out. And somebody else might be able to translate that differently. So who knows? Again, this is just all in the rumor meter.
Yep, speculation.
Speculation. All right, time to talk about that dude, Hugo. Because he's popped up here and there, and of course he's going to pop up so much more. Metro Busman 8-6-20 on Hugo's development. Ante says his basketball IQ is really high, but he gets out of position a lot, ... I'm trying to add to the dramatics here. So which is it? The kid had a brutal summer league, but as you say, he's a child. In my honest opinion, he doesn't have a high basketball IQ, but what doesn't come naturally can be learned. A couple of years in Maine will do him good. I'm so proud of all the little initials that I just got right with this. So thank you, Metro. Thank you.
I love this comment from Metro, and he probably didn't even think I was going to use it, or she, who knows, Busman. I assume that it's a guy, but
Busman.
But either way, Metro, I hear you. Yes, I said he gets out of position, but I said he has a high IQ. The thing about it is, one, the coaches understood that he was shot. Like, his legs were shot, which is why I think his shot really started to go down the further along we got in the summer league, especially with the Celtics playing later in the week, kind of playing like a back-to-back and all this other stuff in summer league. There was a lot of basketball for them to play over the course of a week. You're not going to usually see 5 games in 1 week from an NBA
Not that
team.
close.
Not usually, right?
Yeah.
Especially for a guy who just finished his EuroLeague basketball.
Just flew over.
Like, he's got to get some time to rest. But because of that, I think he was doing a lot of things trying to cheat the game. You know what I mean? He understood what the right places were to be, but he was trying to do things where, if I'm tired, all right, I don't want to have to guard this dude for 5 seconds, so let me just try to make this lunge at the basketball. And then another guy goes by.
He's popping the clutch.
Game 1 and 2, he did a lot of great things. It was really those games 2, 3, 4, 5, where we were looking at Hugo and we were like, okay, these are the bumps. These are the things where he, showing his age. I agree. I do think he should spend some time in Maine. I think I said that in the last episode.
Yeah, you
like,
did.
hey, like he should spend some time in Maine. I don't think it's going to be a couple of years because I do think this kid is going to be ready to help Tatum at the end of next season when Tatum does come back. You know, it's not going to be perfect, but I think he's going to be ready. So you just give it some time, Metro. Let's continue to watch. Let's see him get some things under his system, learning a new system, learning what the Celtics want to do, how they want to attack things. In just a couple of weeks, a new, coach in the system who's teaching them some new things. Give him some time with Joe, and he'll figure it out.
Lovely. I'm going to add my 2 cents to this.
Okay.
And you can let me know, thumbs up or get off your stage.
Yeah.
When it comes to lumping in any sort of IQ for a sport, and then adding he's constantly out of position, how can you basically put 1 for 2? I'm going to tell you how. It doesn't change his IQ because we're also talking about what you learn and develop and the pace. Highlight, underline, bold the word pace of the EuroLeague, and then what's translatable to coming over and trying to find that NBA level and structure and translation. That doesn't mean that you don't have the IQ. As somebody who's always been more of an analytical player, when I always had to change teams or like I played up a couple years sometimes, their pace was different. So getting their patterns, figuring out how to still be a player that can anticipate the movement of my opponents. It took me a couple games, but at that point, I knew the drawing board that I had to go back to from an IQ perspective to say, okay, this is how I match their pace. If I'm not as fast, this is how I disrupt them. So you can still have the IQ and the analytics to be a great player, but again, you got to look at the different systems in which of where he's coming from, what he's getting acclimated to, and then what you said. You're coming here, you're the draft pick for the Boston Celtics, you're going to do too much sometimes. Yeah, because you're going to try to quiet everything else that's going on or all the whispers that you just flew over with before you even had a chance to show what you got. So I will stand by the fact that I think he still continues to show basketball IQ. I think it's just something to where after a couple more games, you can challenge that in terms of how does he correct those mistakes? Because that's the biggest part of IQ. Sometimes it's the situational aspect of it.
Yeah, and he played a lot of minutes. We were talking about how he was playing not that many minutes in the EuroLeague to go into playing a lot of minutes for the Celtics Summer League team, which he'll not be doing with the Boston Celtics over this year. You know what I mean? He'll be playing minutes, but he's not going to be playing 25 minutes. Consistently, or 30 minutes or whatever he was playing in Summer League. I don't see that happening for him with the Boston Celtics, this year. The other thing that I want to say is, Metro, this kid, I have to trust everybody that I'm, hearing from. I'm not even just trusting my own eyes or what I know about this kid. I'm trusting my sources. You know what I mean? I'm trusting guys that have played with him. I've trusted guys that have played against him. I'm trusting what I hear from executives that have been around him, coaches that have coached him. You know what I mean? Hearing what Brad is saying about him. If they're all saying the same thing and saying, hey, this kid has a really good IQ for a 19-year-old, then
oh my gosh, and then he's 19.
Right. Then he's got a good IQ for a 19-year-old.
Yeah. It's like diapers for NBA. These ages, they really catch up to you. But yeah, great stuff, great way to lay everything out, and I'm glad that you asked the question, Metro. Let us know your thoughts, again, in terms of, can you still kind of groom the IQ of a player while getting acclimated to a new system and all of the other goods that were broken down so well by Ante.